I'd like to ask the Minister for Infrastructure what the outcome of the action to review the current approach and timetable for local authority transition was, when he will present his revised approach and timetable to Tynwald, and if he will make a statement.
Minister for Infrastructure, Mr. Harman.
Mr. President, the Department of Infrastructure has been working with Ireland's local authority to deliver changes for some years. The policy principle in the programme for government is that services should be delivered at the most appropriate level to bring about the best results for both the ratepayer and taxpayer. The approach that has been adopted in recent years has differed from previous attempts to bring about changes in local authorities. The recent transition has been undertaken in partnership and in collaboration with local authorities. This has taken longer and been resource intensive, but has secured progress alongside a better working relationship between local and central government. This approach has some services to be devolved from the department to delivered locally by local authorities. For instance, local authorities are now able to determine how often to clean gullies and cut hedges in their areas dependent on local requirement. It has also seen local authorities working together cooperatively to achieve common goals, such as especially in relation to housing. I can confirm that my department has reviewed progress to date. The findings of the review of the transition programme to date has some tangible successes, most notably in relation to the development of shared waiting lists for housing, the transfer of functions in relation to highways, and joint working on waste management leading to an imminent new waste strategy. The review has also determined there have been a number of noticeable but less tangible successes of the transition approach to date. These include an improvement in working relationships, not only between local authorities and central government, but between local authorities themselves. It is also important to consider wider changes that affect local authorities. From January this year, the legislation relating to freedom of information was extended to all local authorities, and GDPR will also have an impact. Local authorities are evolving and adapting to the new landscape of compliance and security. Another key aspect will be the work undertaken on rate reform, which will potentially have a significant impact on local authority transition. Some people may feel that this is too slow and may want a more radical change and approach to reform. Our review considered previous attempts at local authority reform. The findings suggest that a more radical approach has not been successful. I firmly believe that the best way to bring about change is to work with local authorities. The programme of government states we will work with local authorities and other partners to deliver the right services in the right place at the right time, making sure national priorities are funded accordingly. The approach of working together on issues such as housing will continue. The highway transition work will continue. Joint working on waste management will continue. I'm not suggesting an enforced change to the structure and formation of local authorities. Rather, I will be working with local authorities to secure benefits to both the ratepayer and the taxpayer.
Mr. Hooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Minister in his answer made several references to findings of the review. I'm wondering if he will be sharing that review and those findings with this honourable court or with honourable members at some point in the very near future. But my original question also asked what his new timetable was going to be for the transition around local authority. He hasn't really addressed that at all, other than to say it'll happen at some point, sometime soon. Can we have something a bit more concrete, please?
Thank you, and certainly share what findings we have had to date, and we will do so. In terms of dates, lots of this is dependent on other work, such as rate reform, and also the waste strategy, which comes to Tynwald next month, and also how we work with local authorities. I am aware there are some gaps in the programme for government. We need some updated action, so that is the method that I propose to do that.
Honourable Member, Mr. Shimmons.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Minister highlighted his approach, which I would describe as a kind of softly approach, and joint working is obviously key to that. What will he do if local authorities don't want to change and don't want to work with him?
It's very difficult, actually, operating with hypothetical questions. If I would hope that local authorities seize this opportunity to deliver benefits. I think there's huge benefits, particularly on waste, which will be the concentration over the next year. If they don't, I think ratepayers will themselves become frustrated. I think we will then see much more radical radical or people that demand more radical approaches. I do think, but we mustn't do reform for reform's sake. I believe passionately about having the right service in the right place, and that's why by focusing on the service and the delivery of that service is actually the right thing to do.
Yeah.